Hi guys, hi. So today I decided to talk about this story. I've shared this story before on YouTube. And I took it down. Right, I took it down because of I just felt like, well, I did the story right. I spoke about the story in early January, actually in January this year, right, and. Somebody who know my siblings, right? My young brother, they took a clip or something, and sent to him, right? That's when they spoke about it amongst themselves that, I'm gonna make my mom a laughing stock, and people wanna know about the story. Um, what I'm saying? Because of I come from a village, right? Very small village, right? Where obviously everybody knows everybody, right? If someone knows a story, everyone is gonna know a story, right? But and also the reason why I also took it down because of that time, that time I was crying a lot, right? I was feeling sorry for myself at that time. I was still in a phase of self pity. I was just having a pity party at that time, and I was looking at my situation from a you know, um, a point of view, right, from how I was conceived, being from village where it's just in the middle of nowhere, growing up without I almost say I grew up without love. But that time when I made that video, I felt like I was just grow up without love, right? But I remember that actually no, God has always been there for me, and I also grew up with my grandmother who loved me, right? But after my grandmother passed, there was no longer love, visible at home, right? There was just hate, and it was just literally, you could like literally see the hate, right? That's the reason why most of the time I was never really at home, Um, so I also that's the reason why I took it down, right? But before I get into the story, also, man, because of I have not had not spoken about it to my mom, right? That I want to share the story, right? Because of for me, I know my secret between me and God. I know the message that I got from the messages that I get from God, and I believe my story. It's a story of God, and I cannot, I cannot not share the story and let the story be known. Hopefully that I will probably write a book about the story. And I want to actually, because of there's just a lot of message that I get from God that I just feel like if anybody listen to my other videos of where I come from, surviving a lot of things, being saved by God through and through, over and over and over. Especially, I come from a village where there's witchcraft, right? There's just witchcraft that is just and but I don't want to get into that because of like I said, if you watch my videos, like I am very emotional person, right? I am a crying baby, if I can put it that in that way, but I want to talk about the story, man, because of I feel like and for me sharing this story because I know um um secret between me and God, right? I know I get the message from God, and I truly making this video today. I am saying to God that I surrender. I surrender. Use me. And let's do this. Before I get to any further, I want to before I get into story, I just want to talk about address certain things before, right, regarding rape, also to the kids who was conceived through rape, and women who've been raped, men as well, you know, Um, but before I get into the whole story, let me just talk about, there's this thing people say, before I even get, there's a story of Thabo Bester, right? We all know the story of Thabo Bester, right? And for me, the story happened. I made actually January. I did. There were some people who know my like I said, someone who they saw my story on YouTube that I was talking about, that I was born out of rape, right, and then somebody took it to my young brother, right. I made the story actually early January, in January actually, and Thabo Bet's story broke out after, right, and for me, the story of Thabo Bester for me is just a confirmation from, because I truly believe that everything happened for a reason on this earth, right? And for me, I took that story by Thabo Bester as a teachable moment, like a learning time for kids who are born out of rape, to women who've been raped, to men as well, right? And get the message from God to kids who are conceived through rape, right? And I'll do the video because I don't want to make long videos because, like I said, I'm an emotional person, right? So I'm gonna make that story of Thabo Bester after this story, right? First of all, right? Let me just okay. I'll talk about Thabo Bester story on another video just after this, right? First of all, man, the people, right? They calling, not calling, but they when you talk, when you look for or hear people talking about Thabo Bester, right? They say he's a product of rape, right? And for me, I have, as a kid who was conceived through rape, right? I have a problem with people regarding, people saying a product, right? Um, a product of rape. A product is a thing. A product is an object, right? I'm not an object. A human being is not an object, right? Um, the same way there are women who say they don't want to be objective, not objective, but they don't want to be taken, they're treated like a object, right? English, guys, English is not my thing, right? But they people can say that to people that they are product of rape. You know what I'm saying? I have a problem with that, guys. A person was conceived through rape. Nah, I say I was born of rape, right? I am not a child of rape. I am a child of the most highest God, the most protective God, the most loving, the most forgiving, the most giving, the most, you know, the most protective God, especially the protection, right? And this is a message that I want to do say to kids who conceive through rape, and also a message to women as well, right? So take out that out of, right, product of rape, guys. Don't refer to people as products, right? We are not products, right? Um, Two, right? People have always had people have a problem with people saying that, rape it's about a power. How is it rape about power? Rape is not about power. Rape it's weakness. Rape it's about weakness as a man or as a woman, right? And also, before I get into that, people think that rape, right, it's just done by men. It's not. The whole thing, Me Too movement, the whole two men are trash. Guys, women, um, if men, it's just the thing of like we people say that as human beings, we our mind are easily conditioned, right? Programmed, right? It's just that we grew up in a society where, as a man or as a boy, having sex, it's it's glorified, right? It's a good thing, right? But if actually men could come out, talks about their about their, rape stories or sex, because to them probably it's not rape, right? Sex to older women at a young age. The feminist, right? And I love the feminist, by the way. But society, people will be shocked how many young boys were raped at young age by women. We will be shocked, right? Sharp. I'm not gonna get into that. Number two, what I was talking about, Kunje. Oh, rape not being about power, right? Guys, let's talk about rape, right? Rape. Before, people talk about rape being about, miniskirt, short bums, blah blah blah, dressing code. That's BS, right? I almost swear. That's a BS. Honestly, um, rape is not about power. Rape is not about how people are dressed. Miniskirt. It's not about that. Honestly, rape. I wish people could just stop saying rape is not about clothes. It's about power. Rape is not about power. Rape is just literally about it's weakness. As a man, the time when you rape, you are just at the weakest moment at that time, right? Because before, rape, you know, we look at people, right? We are human beings, we are sexual beings, right? We look at people, right? And you wakalela, right? Right? A person, right? Looking at a person in wakalela, right? But does not mean that you have to touch a person, right? Does not mean that, does not give you authority or a power to say that I can touch a person. No, look at a person, whatever, last, whatever, I don't know. But my point, what I'm trying to say is, what am I trying to say, man? The thing of, you know, rape, before you look at a person, right, on streets. Rape does not happen on streets. Rape does not happen at the beach when somebody's wearing a short bum. It doesn't happen there, right? If rape is about someone wearing certain clothes, rape could have happen everywhere, right? It can happen daylight, because of, you see a girl or a guy wearing a short passing here, right? And you look at them and you get whatever feelings, you're attracted to them or whatever. If rape was about that, rape could have happened on streets, the beach, right? At the pool party, right there in front of people. If rape was about that, rape happens in a secret space, right? Private space. So clearly, rape is not about clothes, right? I mean, you don't look at the person on street and follow them until they get where they go and rape them. It doesn't happen like that. Rape happens in the dark. Rape happens at home. Rape happens. I know there are people who have believed that they have there's certain people who have audacity to spank somebody as they walk at a club, right, or in a taxi, whatever, right. But I'm talking about rape, and I'm not saying that is a less of a rape, no. But I'm just talking about a rape where someone can be conceived, to a point that in that way, right. Rape, before it happens, it's an idea, right, that is planted by Satan, right. That's a fact, right. It's an idea that Satan, it's somebody who God fought with and won that that battle against Satan, right. And Satan was left with no power, right. And here you are as a person, as a man, okay, or as a rapist. Let me just say rapist, right. Because honestly, I think it's high time. Honestly, we take this thing rape out of people thinking that rape is just it's just it's just an act of a man. Rape before a person act on it is an idea that is placed by God, by Satan, right? Satan fought against God fought against Satan and literally won that battle and left Satan with no power. Satan does not have power. He planted an idea in your head and you acted upon it. You are at your weakest, weak, right? You have. So how is that about power? Honestly, I'm trying to understand how is that a power of a person saying that rape is about power. Rape is not about power, right? We're moving, right? Number three that I actually want to talk about, right? There's a story where it's so crazy. Where there's a story of women, right, in Congo, somewhere in Congo, where there are women who are, if a woman is raped and they get pregnant, right, they get kicked out of the village, right? Um, there's something that Penuel, right? Penuel, right? That he keep on doing or saying, referring to black people as stupid, and I don't like that, honestly. But the story that happens in other African countries, man, honestly, that's the most stupidest, not so stupid people, but stupid thing that a person can do, right? And it's not just that, right? There's a thing I saw a documentary in I think it was Uganda or one of the African countries, right, where they say a child who was born with the documentaries that the child was born with what teeth, it's a symbol of a curse, right? And they kill these children, or they kick those mothers and children out of the village, and those mothers they build homes there for, what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is some other African countries, man, hey. So there's a story in Congo. I see documentaries where there are group of women who've been raped and they get kicked out of the village and they go and build homes of their own somewhere out of the village, right? A man is in the society. A woman who's was a victim is get victimized again, right? Those women end up leaving their children, right? Leaving their children to raise themselves because of first of all, they were raped, right? Pain. Two, kicked out of the village, kicked out of the homes because of they carrying a kids who was conceived through rape, right? And to them, they believe it's a curse, right? That's why most of rape cases they kept a secret, right, within families, right? And many families, there are people who were conceived through rape, right? Um, Mothers, they don't tell the kids the truth about who they are, right? Then these mothers, some of them, they don't have audacity to raise their kids. Right? The kids have to raise themselves, right? They are left from after birth or after few years old, then they are left to raise themselves, right? Which is because of mother leave kids because of they believe also the kid is a curse, right? For me, that's after I saw that documentaries, because of I've been wanting to tell this story for the longest time, but I was just like, I'm not sure. The shame, right? The shame. Why should I be shamed? As a woman, as well, women who've been raped. Why will you be ashamed as if it's you who raped? You did nothing wrong. Why should you be ashamed? Right? But I want to tell the story. Let me just tell the story. Yes, I was conceived through rape, right? And there's a story that like I said, sharing this story right now. It's me saying to God that I surrender, right? I'm not that I wanna be the voice for kids who conceive through rape, whatever. No, but I just want to share the story and actually let people know, especially women who do not want to tell their kids the truth about who they are. A mistake, one mistake that we could all learn from a mother or men who rape or who think of raping or who have within themselves to rape or giving it to that thought of Satan to rape. Let's just look at the Thabo Besa story, honestly, especially mothers. You know that you're carrying a child, or you give birth, or you are a mother to a kid who was conceived through rape. Honestly, one thing that I will tell you is the power that that kid possesses. The hand of God on that child, um, the anointing. We could all look at Thabo Besta story. Thabo Besta, we know, man, people are still shocked at what happened, right? What happened and right? How come someone can have that much of a power or be so smart, or be so intelligent? That's one thing that I want to tell that story, but I will tell in other, right, other video, because of like I said, guys, this is story, it's very draining, um I this is story, it's very draining. I don't think I will even get to that story, right? Let me just get into the story. It's 22 minutes before I even get to the story. I grew up, right, in a village in the middle of nowhere, right? There's no education where I come from. There's a decision when I look back in my life where I I grew up, man, from primary school, right? Primary school, middle school. Um, it was just in a village, right, where there's no education, where kids don't take education seriously. Where I know I speak the most simplest English right now, but I know 99.8 of kids where I come from, the one that I went to school with, even the younger one, they don't know, they can't even hear what I'm saying right now as I'm talking to you right now, right? That's the type of place where I come from, right? I grew up, man. I was always been different. I was always different, right? I was always different, right? I was that kid that when other kids go to play soccer, whatever, play games out, and they will being playing, just kids playing. I'll be in a class, reading a books. Going back is just a bit heavy. But point is, I've always been different, right? I've always knew that I was different from a young age, right? I grew up, man, without without father, right? I left. I thought that I'm ready to talk about this story, but I'm clearly not, right? Let's just take this first video, as an introduction, right, to my story. Let me just do the part two. Let me just do the part two, right? Because of it's not easy. I thought it's gonna be easy, but clearly it's not easy. Um, you know, um, it's not easy, right? But for me, man, why am I making this video? It's just a thing of like, I'm letting myself free and owning this story with no shame, right? Be a voice for kids who conceive through rape, sure, whatever. But me sharing the story is just me saying to God that I surrender. I got to also talking to women who've been raped. Especially women who know that they have a children who are conceived through rape. Honestly, I just want to talk about the power. Kids knowing who they are. That's only when they're gonna God reveal the power that they possess, right? And it's a different type of a power. It's a different type of anointing. It's a different type of protection, love, and the wisdom that those kids possess. Honestly, it's just out of this world, right? And for me, it's just the thing I encourage women to honestly, if you know as a woman, you give birth to a child who you know for a fact that that kid was conceived through rape, right? I encourage you to tell your kids the truth, at least until they're 18, right? And there are many, right? It's just that you could have been dated somebody who actually was conceived through rape. Some people, they don't even know that they're conceived through rape, right? Some people, they just know that they don't have a fathers. They don't know the reason why they don't have a fathers, right? Many, right? We come from apartheid. Apartheid, rape was happening. We know, right? We're in Africa, man, where, and it's not just in Africa, all over, right? We, West South Africa, it's named as a capital of rape, right? Imagine how many people are conceived through rape. Many, just that people don't wanna talk about it because of the shame, because of the people that believe it's a curse. People believe it should be a secret, right? A kid who was conceived through rape, you are not a curse. You're not supposed to be a secret. Shame, you're not supposed to carry the shame. Honestly, if you know who you are, the power, the love, the wisdom that God has for you. If somebody watched my story of where I come from, being protected against witchcraft over and over and over and over, and there's a story that I wanna tell, man, that anyway, let's just do part two. The part two, I'm getting into a story, right? I'm getting into like literally a story of how I was conceived, right? And how did I get to know, right? Yeah, man. Let's get into a part two because of I'm not okay. Almost 30 minutes and I'm drained already. I'm drained, so let's just get into a part two, man.